This past Saturday, we lost a television legend and our friend, Bob Barker. Bob was an amazing man who set the gold standard not only for his performance on camera, but for his off-camera love and support of all animals, big and small. Most people remember Bob from the 35 years he spent hosting The Price is Right. So it's easy to forget that for 18 years, he was a fixture in America's living rooms for Truth or Consequences. A radio host before that, and a naval aviator during World War II. We'll also remember Bob for his tireless work on behalf of all animals, from whales and elephants to the cats and dogs who reminded everybody at the end of the show to get spayed or neutered. You know, I mentioned the word legend earlier, and while that word gets thrown around all too much these days, it couldn't be more appropriate when you think about Bob's time on The Price is Right. Bob's skills were second nature to him. He was the master of the game, but he always knew who the real stars of his show were, the contestants. Today, we celebrate Bob's legacy with a look back at some of the incredible moments of his time here on The Price is Right. This is for you, Bob.
Bob Barker saying good night, everybody.
Everyone in this arena has a money stake in one of our famous couples as we play the game of celebrity gossip, Tattletales. And here's today's star of Tattletales, Bob Barker.
If you were watching yesterday, you saw Bert host his own show, but it's MC week here. I'm doing this show, and we'll have guests doing tomorrow's show and the show after that. Then Bert will be back with you as your host. Of course, he's with us today. And look who else is with us today. Here, winning money for the blue section, we have Bert Convy and his lovely wife, Ann.
Thank you.
And playing for the banana section, we have none other than the star of Family Feud, formerly the star of Lucky Pair, Richard Dawson, and his lady, Jody.
Lucky Pair, I remember that.
And red section over there, playing for you, we have a guy who's been around fooling them as long as I have. Jack Narz, star of Concentration, and his wife, Dawn. Now, gentlemen, you have spent a lifetime asking questions. You're about to answer some. Ladies, you can hear me?
Yes.
All right, here's the first question. I get so many kisses from happy winners on The Price is Right that if I didn't come home from work with lipstick on my collar, my wife wouldn't believe I'd been at work. If your guy shows up after work with lipstick on his collar, do you ask him about it or ignore it? All right, girls, we'll say goodbye to you for the moment. And gentlemen, this is for $150. I will begin with the old master himself,
Yeah, who's
Bert
getting older?
Convy.
I'm getting older faster, too.
How do you answer that question, Bert?
Two quick stories come to mind. I'll tell one of them the other, a while ago I came home and I had perfume. She gave me a kiss. Hi, honey. What's that? Panic. I said, what's what? What is that perfume? What is that? I said, I don't know, and I didn't know. And I went like that. I said, gee, it's very familiar. She said, I'm sure it is. I said, I don't know, honey, I don't know. Well, what do you wear? I said, and what do you wear? We go, it was hers. She doesn't really say anything about it. I don't remember coming home with it. I carry a couple of spare shirts around with me so that I don't have that problem.
I'm
question
using
is-
his dressing room, and he's not kidding. He has shirts all over.
So the question is, what would she say if I came home with
Yes,
lipstick?
would she ignore it, or would she ask you about it?
No, she would not ignore it.
She would not.
No.
She'd ask you about
She
it.
would ask me about it.
All right. Bert says that she would ask him about it. Let's have Ann with us again, please. Ann?
Yes.
Yes. Ann, you heard the question. Let me repeat just the last part of it, please.
All right.
If your guy shows up after work with lipstick on his collar, do you ask him about it or do you ignore it?
Would I ask him? As soon as he came to, yes, I would ask him.
Not kidding, got a million left.
I understand that he came home with perfume on just the other day. And
He
you
did?
discovered...
Don't you remember when
I
you...
missed that one.
No, don't you remember once when you said, you gave me a kiss and you said, what is that? What's that? And I said, I don't know. And I finally figured out it was yours. It was your perfume, don't you remember? And I took you in there.
You're giving me interesting information.
Yes.
She does.
I have an interesting bit of information for you, too. He carries some of your perfume in the glove compartment of his car.
The man is always prepared.
All right. Now, you two have answered correctly. Yes, you have agreed in your answer, and on to Richard Dawson. Richard, how will Jody answer? Will she say that she would ask you about the lipstick, or would she ignore it?
This is sort of a question like one guy says, how long have you been wearing a girdle? And he said, ever since my wife found it in the glove compartment of my car. I must tell you, Jody comes to work all the time, every time so she knows that I love to kiss those ladies. I think she would ignore it.
She would just ignore it.
Unless it was the color, of course, that Bert wears. Well, I'll say she'll ignore it, Bob.
Very well. Let's have Jody join our little party, please. Jody, the last part of the question, if you recall, was if your guy shows up after work with lipstick on his collar, do you ask him about it or do you ignore it?
Well, if you've watched Family Feud and Match Game, you'll see that Richard kisses everybody, and this carries over into his real life also. So I would not think twice about it and would not ask him.
You would ignore it.
Yes,
She would ignore it.
Yeah.
I want you and Dorothy Joe to have a long talk after the show. Jack Narz?
Yes, Bob.
What would Doe do? Would she ignore the lipstick on your collar, or would she ask you about it?
Well, now, Bob, you know I desperately need a right answer, having gotten none on the
On yesterday's show, you had a problem or two.
So I'm going to play it perfectly straight. Boy, she better be right. She goes to all the tapings with me. She sees all the action. She knows that when somebody wins a car on concentration, they run up and give me a kiss. She sees it, and when we get home, if she leaves a show early or something and I come in, she would not question it. She would just ignore it.
She would ignore it, is Jack's answer.
God, I hope so.
And the red section
Yeah.
hopes that
She will.
is Doe's answer. Let us speak with Doe, please. Doe, if Jack should come home after work with lipstick on his collar, would you ask him about it or would you ignore it?
I would ignore it.
You would ignore it. So they split the $150 three ways, $50 for each couple, $50 for each section, and we'll be discussing more interesting subjects with our panel after this message.
Time to meet us on the Buzzer Casino floor for Family Feud. Families take a spin at the top answers, hoping to hit the jackpot.
Survey says.
Family Feud, all this week at 10 p.m. on Buzzer Casino. Feeling lucky?
And we're ready for our next question. Now, the question is this, ladies. What percentage of your man's appeal is based on his ability to make you laugh? Is it closer to 10%, 50%, or 90%? Now, cogitate on that for a spell, and we'll have you back with us shortly. There they go. And this time I shall begin with you, Richard.
Well, I was going to say, laughingly referred to in a couple of articles as the sex symbol of Match Game. And every time I get romantic with her, she laughs like the devil. I will have to say 90%.
90% is his answer. 90% is his answer.
Yeah.
And here comes Jody.
Oh, yeah.
Jody, tell me, what percentage of your man's appeal is based on his ability to make you laugh? Is it closer to 10%, 50%, or 90%?
It's so difficult because Richard knows how much I love his sense of humor and how I love people who make me laugh anyway. But he has so much going for him in so many other areas, such that I would say, 90%.
90%. And the banana section is so happy that you said 90%.
Oh, goodness.
They brought these questions. I beg your pardon?
No, I love funny people. And
Well, and Dick is certainly a funny guy.
yes, he is.
They brought these questions into me when I was in my dressing room. Dorothy Jo was with me, and I read her this question, and I said, what would it be for you? She said, 90%. What else is there? All right, Jack Narz, tell me now.
I'm sort of in the same boat. She laughs at me a whole lot, except when I say something funny. Then being of Lithuanian descent, that Litvak breaks into tears every time. So I think that she's going to go for 10%.
You say 10%. Very well. Let's find out what she says. Quiet, audience, please.
I think so.
Let's have Doe back now.
Gee, I don't know this.
Doe, the question is, what percentage of your man's appeal is based on his ability to make you laugh? Is it closer to 10%, 50%, or 90%?
Oh, that's hard. 50%.
50%?
No.
I'm sorry, Jack. Would you like
man,
to discuss it with her?
I went with 10. I thought, you know, you'd go for that one. You don't laugh that much. I don't make you laugh that well, because I do. But
Maybe
mostly,
you're just not laughing at the same things.
Mostly she laughs when I do dumb things like this.
Well, the red section is not laughing right now. So let's go on over here to Bert. And
We
get
got
you
one
off the
right.
hook.
Yes.
Bert?
We'll get you one.
I know I make her laugh, but I make her cry, too. Could we put that in there as well on the other side?
That could be the next question.
It could be. It's between 90 and 50, and I'm going to have to make a guess. You think 50, gang? You don't think I'm so funny either, huh?
Try 10.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
After his last line, won't you go for 90% now?
Oh, there's a few tens up there, I think. Okay, I'll go with you. Let's go for 50. There must be
50%.
something else I've got.
All
I don't know
right.
what it is.
Bert's answer is 50%, and may we have Ann on, please? And this is an important answer because so far Richard Dawson and Jody have the whole thing. The question is, what percentage of your man's appeal is based on his ability to make you laugh? Is it closer to 10%, 50%, or 90%?
If I could only tell you the times I laughed when he wasn't trying to be funny.
Well, we have time. Go right ahead.
Oh, no, never mind.
A sense of humor is the most important thing you can have, 90%.
90% is not what he said. He said 50%.
Revenge.
So Richard and Jody have won $150 here for a total of $200, and the UCLA group is on its feet. Now we're going to change places here, and then we'll have more questions.
Buzzer. 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 Buzzer.
Yes, now I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that I have a very interesting question to pose for these three gentlemen who are backstage now. The bad news is that we're going to take the $150 away from Richard and Jody because there is the possibility that the audience reaction may have influenced Jody in her answer.
Good.
Sorry,
Good.
but that's what we have.
We need all the help we can get.
Yes.
You know,
If I'm Bob,
We're still
I was
free.
mistaken.
Oh, my.
I was mistaken. That wasn't bad news. The Reds and the Blues love that news. Yes, they're applauding now.
We're all even now.
All right, now, gentlemen, listen carefully.
Yes, Robert.
Think of all the women with whom you were ever romantically involved. This is only a half-hour show, of course. How many? How many were you actually in love with? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them? You all three look frightened. We will leave you alone for just a few moments.
Please.
Let's say goodbye to them, and I shall begin with you, Anne.
Oh,
I'd
I
like
was
to
afraid of
have
that.
you answer the question first, if you will, please. They are going to think of all the women with whom they have ever been romantically in love. How many were romantically involved? How many of them were they actually in love with? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them? What will Bert
Ooh.
say?
That's very difficult. He was so involved with sports and things. But he was only interested in women about the time I got a hold of him.
Aha.
I'll say a few.
A few.
Yeah, I hope. That's what
She
he
says
told
a
me.
few
I
of
don't
them was her answer. Very well. May I discuss this with Bert, please? Bert, on the subject of women with whom you are romantically involved, how many were you actually in love with? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
Well, I don't know how Ann could really, truly answer this because we have never gone into it in detail, you know.
I can imagine that you have not.
No. I would really honestly say a few of them.
A few of them is right, Bert. You done did it. Yeah.
But
after this show, I dare say you will go into it in greater detail.
No, it's all long ago, past history, way back when I was 9. I was 9.
Yes, of course. Of course, we're playing now for $300, so you have at least $100 of it already.
Terrific.
Now on to Richard and Jody here. And Jody, what do you predict Richard's answer to be? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
I guess I'd be pretty idealistic to think none. And besides, Richard was married before.
Not necessarily in love, just married.
But he was in love. I know he was. And
I thought that was funnier than the audience did.
Yes, he was. So I will say a few.
You will say a few of them? Richard, let's have him back, please. Richard, the question was about the women with whom you were romantically involved. How many were you actually in love with? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
What sort of car is it again?
Johnny, what kind of car was it? It was a Vega.
Oh, a Vega. I'll bet $18,000. Now, please give me the options.
Yes, I will. The options are none of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them.
Well, there are only two ladies I love, my first wife and Jody, so I'll say a few.
A few of them is what Jody said. A few of them is what Jody said, and so now you and Bert are sharing $300.
Dick, haven't I seen you on the Liars Club recently?
Yes, you have. Yes.
But we are moving on down to Doe. Doe, what do you predict Jack's answer to be? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
I'm going to ask them this time because my batting average is zilch.
90%.
A few.
She says a few of them because a few of you said a few of them. Now, let me discuss it with Jack, please. Jack?
Yes, Bob.
You know the subject. How many were you actually in love with?
Could you give me the whole thing again?
Yes, I will. Think of all the women with whom you were ever romantically involved. How many were you actually in love with? None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
Well, you know, one of them is Doe right now. I'd like to take the fifth. Either the amendment, vodka, scotch, I don't care. Any kind of fifth. Only one, only Doe.
Well, now the options are none of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them. No help, audience.
Gosh, that's a funny...
None of them, a few of them, most of them, or all of them?
All of them.
All of them. Those said a few of them. So Ann and
What's
Bert,
the difference,
Jody and
all or a
Richard
few?
share the $300. They each have $200 now.
I'm in trouble no matter
what. We have another question coming up after we have this message. It's still anybody's game because this question is worth $300. Ann and Bert have $200, Jody and Richard have $200, and Doe and Jack have $50. And I'm going to begin with Doe and Jack when we asked Jack for his answer. The question, gentlemen, is, in the course of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal? Now, you think that over for a moment. Let's say goodbye to them. And Doe, will you please give me your prediction as to Jack's answer? Which one of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal?
Jack has complained.
Jack has complained more than you have.
About his golf game, about the refrigerator going kaputz, and the washer, dryer, the dishwasher. Oh, everything's happened. He's
Not winning any
more.
money on Tattletales.
Not winning any money on Tattletales.
Okay, let's have Jack
He's
with us,
complained
please.
the most.
Jack,
Yes,
the question
Bob.
is, in the course of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal?
Well, we've had a disastrous month, I might say, in not too serious a way, but I guess that I probably...
You, Jack, have You have answered correctly. But
Oh, what a month.
now on here to Ann and Bert. Ann, what will Bert's answer be to the question in the course of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal?
Oh, this is so easy. Bert's always in a good mood. It's so depressing. I complain.
You complain more?
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
always happy.
Her answer is that she complains the most. Now, let's find out what Bert has to say, please. Bert, in the course of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal?
It's not easy because there have been things to complain about on both of our parts. On a lot of our parts, in fact. Which of the two of us?
Which of the two of you complain more about anything, you or your gal?
Well, I have something in mind, and I don't know if Ann told you about it, and I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to say it's me.
No, you are gallant, but you are wrong. She said that she had complained more.
Really?
Yes,
what was it
she
about,
did.
Ann?
Bert.
What was it, honey?
I'm always complaining. You're always cheerful.
Yeah, but did you forget my
Punch
injury?
him in the mouth. He's so cheerful. Oh.
You may have a new injury after today.
And wait a minute, did you forget my injury?
Oh, I'm talking about in general over the years.
She's talking about things that are really important, not your injuries.
Now I
Bert.
really have something to complain about.
Let's find out what Jody has
Complain
to
about my
say. In
injury
the course
tomorrow.
of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal, is the question. Jody, what will he say?
Okay, I have to say that I don't believe Richard complains at all. He's not a complainer, and I don't really think I am, but he has said that I do complain. So he's probably going to say I am the
He
one.
is going to say that you, Jody, complain more. All right, let's have Richard, and he will speak his piece. Richard, in the course of the last month, which of the two of you complained more about anything, you or your gal?
This is really just a guess. I'll say me.
You will say you, and that is wrong. And Jack and Doe win $300, which gives them $350. And they have come back, one of Tattletales' great comeback to win the game for the red section. And we will be back after we have a look at this.
Up next, how you doing on those bracket choices? Well, Jim Perry's hoping for a hosting win on Card Sharks. Stay tuned.
Well, these blinking lights tell the story. Doe and Jack came through, $350. And of course, to that, you add $1,000, so their total will be $1,350. How about that, red section? But you fought the hard fight, all of you did, and it's been a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to do your show, Bert. Listen, this is a fun show to do.
Thank you, Bob. Don't get to like it too much. You got me worried.
No chance of me taking over from you. You do a beautiful job, and tomorrow you will see Jack Narz doing a beautiful job on Tattletales.
Okay.
Now, Bob Barker saying goodbye, everybody.
This is Gene Wood speaking for Tattletales. A Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. This program has been edited for broadcast.
I'm the master reptile.